Hey everyone, welcome to Green Generation. We are STEM for Humanity, and this is our 9th webinar series. Today, our topic will be focusing on environmental science and how to contribute to a healthier planet. So for today's overview, first we're going to have an introduction of our presenters. Then the topics that we'll be presenting today are the botanical future of medicine, eco-friendly fishing solutions, nature's inspiration for modern design, brings nature fragrance indoors, perfume lamp, algae, oil of the sea, innovation for bird protection, sustainable camping, sustainability in bloom, innovating for the air we share, and shedding light on light pollution. Let's do a quick introduction for our presenters today. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm the president of STEM for Humanity Coalition, and I'm a sophomore at Brown University.
Hi, my name is Jay. I'm the co-vice president of STEM for Humanity, and I'm a senior at Diamond Bar High School.
Hi, I'm Jenny. I'm co-vice president for STEM for Humanity, and I'm a senior at Westlake High School.
Hi, I'm Kaden. I'm the secretary for STEM for Humanity, and I'm a 12th grader at Diamond Bar High School.
Hi, I'm Cecilia, and I'm the co-vice president for STEM for Humanity. I'm a senior at Diamond Bar High School.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm the Director of Entrepreneurship for Humanity Circle, and I'm in Buckley School.
Hi, my name is Alex. I'm the treasurer of STEM for Humanity Coalition. I'm a senior at Diamond Bar High.
Hi, I'm Isabelle. I'm the director of physics, and I'm an 11th grader at Westlake High School.
Hi, I'm Zack. I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the STEM for Humanity Coalition, and I'm a senior at Diamond High School.
Hello, I'm Cassie Liu, and I'm the education coordinator for STEM for Humanity, and I'm in Rancho Cucamonga High School.
So those are our speakers for today, and a bit about our organization if this is your first time attending one of our webinars. We're STEM for Humanity Coalition, and we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to bridging STEM and society, as well as cultivating creativity and compassion in future leaders. Everyone on our board is responsible for some aspect of our organization, and we're working together to strive towards positive societal change. And if you're interested in joining us, or if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email and check our website. I'll be going over the first mini lesson within today's webinar. This is the botanical future of medicine. So some early history in ancient China, there were a few emperors who really tried to push for advancements in developing herbal medicine and that branch. There was an emperor who compiled the Chinese herbal classic, Divine Farmer's Classic of Materia Medica, and this described a lot of medicinal substances, primarily dried parts of plants, and this is basically the foundation of modern-day herbal medicine. Then in 1550 BC, the Ebers Papyrus offers a remarkable catalog of ancient medicine. So this was another accumulation of a lot of different plants and their uses. Dioscorides is often named as the father of pharmacognosy. So pharmacognosy is the study of medicines coming from natural origins. So they're not synthetically produced chemicals that act as medicine. These are focusing on natural sources. He wrote the 5-volume work, De Materia Medica. His work was collecting plants and testing their effects. Empirical observation just means it's basically testing through experimentation. This book cataloged hundreds of plants, minerals, and animal-derived substances, described how they can be identified in the wild, how they can be prepared and stored, also their therapeutic uses and their dosages. Now let's dive into a few common medicines that come from natural sources. One of them is Pacific yew trees. Taxol is an anti-cancer chemotherapy drug, often used as a chemotherapy supplement, and this was originally discovered in the bark of Pacific yew trees. It's used to treat a wide range of cancers, including breast cancer, ovarian, bladder, and prostate cancers. And how it works is, in order to isolate this compound out of the plants, you have to peel the barks of those trees. This actually caused this type of tree, the Pacific yew trees, to become endangered due to overharvesting because of their medicinal usages. So they went from vulnerable to endangered classification. Another plant is Madagascar periwinkles. In traditional Indian medicine and medicine in the Philippines and South Africa, these leaves are being used to treat diabetes, and 2 research teams initially tested the extracts of this plant to find new diabetes treatment, But they also realized that the plant has compounds with potent anti-cancer properties. Over time, they did a lot of research and they were able to identify and develop 2 drugs just coming from the extract out of this plant. So vinblastine and vincristine. Vincristine increases the chance of surviving childhood leukemia from 10% to 90%. So this is a really powerful type of medicine that comes just from this plant source. Another one is sweet wormwood, also called sweet anise. So this is traditional Chinese medicine used for centuries to treat things like fevers and malaria. And there are drugs that are isolated out of this type of plant. This is one of the most effective anti-malarial drugs. It's also being studied for its anti-cancer effects because it has a mechanism where that involves free radicals. So basically when electrons, like typically you might see in chemistry, fluid structures, there's lone pairs that exist as like a pair of electrons, but sometimes some compounds will have free-floating 1 electrons, and then that can participate in free radical reactions that can actually target rapidly dividing cells. Now, cultivated and processed for pharmaceutical use, reducing reliance on wild harvesting. Because it's now able to be cultivated, scientists don't have to harvest this plant out of the wild and destroy the environment. Another one is mayapple. So this is a perennial plant native to North America. It produces a naturally occurring lignin in its rhizomes and roots. This compound itself binds to tubulin, preventing microtubule formation. The microtubules are used to pull the chromosomes apart. The microtubules themselves are comprised of tubulin monomers joined together. How this compound works is by basically binding to those monomers that join together to form the microtubule polymers. It can also, that basically functions in preventing cell division. This might be useful for targeting cancerous cells because cancerous cells, they divide too much. If you want to stop their cell division, you can target their microtubules that the chromosomes don't split apart. So that's basically what this compound does, and it creates drugs such as etoposide and tenepside, and these target topoisomerase 2, which is an enzyme that in DNA replication, it goes ahead of the replication fork, and it basically releases the tension as the DNA unwinds. So those 2 drugs are used in that process. Many medicinal species are endangered due to overharvesting. If there is a demand in the market for those so-called anti-cancer drugs or drugs that can cure a lot of diseases, then naturally the pharmaceutical companies and researchers, scientists are going to want to harvest all those plants, and this can cause overharvesting. Climate change is shrinking the habitats of plants that harbor unique chemistry, so a lot of these medicinal plants tend to live in conditions that might be rare or hard to come across. Some solutions are cultivating medicinal plants under controlled conditions. So instead of taking up a large amount of land and worrying about if there is farmers or scientists that try to harvest those plants, you can store them you can use vertical harvesting strategies where you basically grow them from the floor upwards instead of like horizontally. That's one method. Preserving genetic diversity through seed banks. Also using tissue culture techniques to propagate rare plants without taking them from the wild. So all of these are solutions that can potentially help to at least slow down the effects of overharvesting.
Hi, my name is Alex, and I want to share about an important topic that connects our passion for fishing and our responsibility to protect the environment, eco-friendly fishing solutions. So first of all, the global fishing gear market has been growing steadily. By 2030, it is expected to reach more than 8.8 billion US dollars. Within this large market, eco-friendly fishing gear already makes up about 1 to 2 billion dollars, or about 5 to 10% in total. Even more importantly, the eco-friendly sector is growing faster than overall market because more and more people are aware of sustainability and environmental impact. There are many environmental problems or issues from the traditional fishing gears. However, traditional fishing gears can even cause more serious problems. Plastic fishing lines do not degrade, which means they are wasted after used and might be tangled birds or marine animals. Lead sinkers corrode and release heavy metals, which might poison wildlife as well. Abandoned ghost nests damage essential habitats of marine organisms and then even pose risks to vessels as well. So the issue need to be changed. And the good news is that solutions already exist. So biodegradable fishing line can reduce risks to marine lives, and stone sinkers can eliminate the toxic heavy metal released by the lead. So which are they are both environmentally friendly, while eco-friendly nets can also be designed to degrade after being abandoned, which is also beneficial to the ocean environment. And of course, there will be challenges. For example, in some Asian countries, anglers will still hesitate to switch, mainly because of their concern about durability and the price of eco-friendly choices. But in the United States and European Union, there are many changes rapidly because governments are introducing regulations to restrict many traditional fishing gears, such as lead sinkers and some painted jigs, which are the baits for the fish. So this is a great opportunity for people to do startup businesses such as eco-friendly fishing gear because there is a potential advantage from the local government's policy. And my solution is to support eco-friendly fishing gear brands. So even if we are not anglers or fishermen ourselves, we can still support those kind of brands through investment. So this promotes the innovation in sustainable materials those brands are providing, which gives some motivation. By working together, we can eventually form a better ocean environment, as well as the benefit to whole community. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jay. I'm here to present nature's inspiration for modern design. Through billions of years, nature has evolved to solve problems. Even structures and shapes in the natural world have been changed and refined to coexist in this world. Many structures can act as designs that humans take inspiration from. For example, seashells inspire strong yet lightweight structures. The structure of a seashell mimics the golden spiral found in mathematics. This golden spiral can be found in many places in nature, such as galaxies, sunflowers, and whirlpools. As the spiral moves outward from the center, it grows by a factor of around 1.618, the golden ratio. This ratio and spiral can be used for different mathematics principles such as Fibonacci numbers and golden rectangles. Secondly, we have honeycomb. Honeycombs are created by bees to influence and they can influence efficient storage designs. Bees use honeycombs to store honey, and humans have taken this structure for them to use as a storage for themselves. In addition, bird wings have been central to the development of flight. Humans study how birds fly to mimic the structure. They are shaped similar to airfoils that are able to generate lift over the curved surface. In many ways, nature is the world's greatest designer, and humans are taking inspiration from it. Now we can look into examples of how natural designs have influenced and inspired useful human applications. First, in transportation, the kingfisher's beak inspired the redesign of Japan's bullet train nose. The original trains created loud sonic booms while leaving tunnels. By shaping the front of the train to look like a kingfisher's beak, engineers have been able to reduce noise, increase speed, and improve energy efficiency in bullet trains as a form of transportation. In architecture, turbine mounts have inspired eco-friendly buildings that can regulate temperature naturally without heavy use of air conditioning that can cost more energy, being less efficient. As you can see in this image below, the fresh air comes in from the bottom while the hot air can rise to the top to leave, providing a form of air conditioning without having to use energy. And finally, in material science, the lotus leaf is famous for repelling water. You see the droplets on the leaf. These materials can be used from humans to develop self-cleaning surfaces. The surfaces are now used in parts for paints, glass, and even clothing, reducing the need for harsh cleaning chemicals. Each of these examples show how natural solutions can be provided that humans can take inspiration from. The impact of nature-inspired design goes beyond inventions. It can drive sustainability, efficiency, and innovation. Biomimicry is a term used to describe natural designs as human solutions. With biomimicry, designs become more efficient in use, costing less energy. Billions of years of evolution have allowed nature to create an optimal solution. First, sustainability. Natural designs help us reduce waste, cut down pollution, and use resources more wisely. As I mentioned before, buildings inspired by touring mounds require far less air conditioning, saving energy and lowering carbon emissions. Secondly, efficiency. By studying these systems, we can create products and technologies that work better while using less energy. The bolt chain shaped like a kingfisher's beak is not only quieter, but also more fuel efficient. And third, innovation. Biomimicry sparks new ideas we could never come up with on our own. The Lowe's effect, for instance, leads to self-cleaning materials such as opening doors to coatings and textiles. They can stay cleaner and last longer. As we face challenges like climate change and urbanization, natural designs can be an important factor in sustaining a balanced life. Thank you.
Okay, hello, I'm Cassie, and today I'm going to share with you guys something about my own, like how to bring nature's fragrance indoors and about my perfume lamp. So let's first talk about like how the nature inspired me about the perfume design, like how the design was born. Like while spending time in nature, I noticed how fragrance lingers in the air, like it's subtly calming and unforgettable. So I wonder how I could capture the feeling and bring it into everyday life. So the idea for my project really came from nature, and I always been fascinated by how fragrance flows in the air, and I wanted to bring that feeling indoors for daily life. So I imagined how the freshness of flowers and the balance of earth could stay with us, not just outdoors, but in our homes. So, and also the fragrance drifts freely into everywhere in the world, and that gave me that idea of letting the perfume bottle itself like rise and float just like the sand does. So that's how I had an idea about the heart-shaped perfume lamp using magnetic levitation, like rising gently in the air and carrying the nature's fragrance into our lives. So these are some pictures of my product. Here's a video about like some details I record some several months ago about the lamp. So after this product was done, I show it to like my teachers and my friends at school, and then it was being launched for sale also on like a shop online. And so doing this is not just about selling, it's also like promoting a healthy lifestyle. And I hope people can see what nature gives us and feel it and create new ideas from it.
Hello everyone, my name is Cassie. So today I want to talk something about my magnetic perfume product, which is Lights Out to you guys. So it has officially granted the patent and trademark, and yesterday, finally, it launched for sale on TikTok store, and I want to share some story and vision behind it to you guys. I've always loved makeup, dressing up, and wearing perfume. For me, fragrance is not just about scent. It's like a mood or a feeling. Something special lingers in the air and surrounds me with emotion. I've always wanted perfume that truly reflects who I am, something personal and meaningful. So, inspired by my family, I started imagining the perfume bottle that could actually float, like the fragrance itself drifting through the air. And that idea became the starting point for this design. So I integrated the magnetic levitation technology to make the bottle hover and rotate in the air, which not only looks beautiful, but also represents the natural motion of life and the universe. Just like how the earth is constantly spinning, everything in the cosmos moves in circles, like energy, time, and connection. So I want this bottle to embody the sense of rhythm, motion, and continuity. I also added this heart-shaped light to surround the bottle. When you press down the bottle, the light changes color. It creates a soft and emotional atmosphere.
So for here, as the same idea of promoting a healthy lifestyle and love for life, I once had another idea about a project called Hoop It Rich. It's like an online or live stream competition show where people spin hula hoops and win prizes. So basically, we use softer but heavier hula hoops than normal. So they're like harder to spin, but more fun and more challenging. So the rules are also really simple. Just the longer you spin, the bigger the reward. And so our deeper purpose doing this is also to inspire people of all ages to join in, stay active, and enjoy the movements. So even though this project hasn't been done yet, so it's just still just an idea. As you can see, I don't even have like a picture for this, but it just represents my wish to encourage people to find joy of life, to live healthier, and to see the balance with nature. And I hope this can also become part of our daily lifestyle. The biggest reflection is, I think it's that communication with nature is the most original and essential dialogue. So when we go out into nature, like slow down and really pay attention, we can definitely feel its beauty and also receive inspiration from it. Nature gives us so much, like the fragrance, the balance, and the wisdom. So we should also give something back. Like that's why promoting green generation is so important. So it's about responding to what nature gives us. In this way, we can, nature and us will be moving forward together. Thank you.
Hi, so I'm Zach, and I'm going to be presenting for Algae, the oil of the sea. Despite increased pressure from activist groups and a global consensus to use renewable energy, the world has still been consistently getting their energy from non-renewable sources such as coal, petroleum, and natural gas. So in 2023, the emissions for CO2 reached 37.4 billion tons, a historic record. Countries around the world still, although many have pledged to use and develop renewable energy sources, continue to use a lot of renewables. In addition to that, almost 25% of all CO2 emissions come from transportation sector. So obviously, fossil fuel impacts a lot of things in our life, including ocean acidification, which lowers biodiversity, extreme weathers like extreme hot and cold in parts of the US, we can already see that, and rising sea levels. So biofuels are renewable energy sources derived from organic materials like plants, algae, and waste. So common types include stuff like ethanol, and biodiesel. So biofuels can serve as alternatives to fossil fuel for your day-to-day transportation with a car, so you could just get it straight from your near local gas station. But the main challenge with most biofuels is land. Biofuels require land that oftentimes could be used to grow other sorts of crops, livestock, and also could be used for humans with housing. So algae is a new and upcoming biofuel that is incredibly useful and overcomes a lot of the obstacles that other biofuels have. So, for example, the oil yield of algae is 19 to 70,000 liters per acre per year, 10 to 20 times compared to something like soybeans. They can also be grown in wastewater and saline water, making it not use up important land. So you could have algae farms straight out in the ocean where they can grow them and be used for fuel. And in that process, they can also absorb carbon dioxide through carbon fixation. 1 kilogram of algae can absorb 1.8 kilograms of carbon dioxide. So algae already has tons of measurable impacts. In 2024, it absorbed as much CO2 as rainforests do, which is around 10 to 20 billion tons. So all the rainforests in the world and all the algae have measurable impact. Modified algae using CRISPR technology and metabolic engineering, so bioengineering fields can also produce twice the lipid content, the lipids being the oils and fats inside the algae, which can double the yield of the plant. In addition to that, the market size for biofuel for algae specifically is projected to rise by more than 50% by 2032, making this a market that is highly capable of rising and making an impact. And current biotech companies are already investigating and already trying to develop algae to be used for biofuel in the future. And that is my presentation.
Hi everyone, my name is Jenny, and today I'll be presenting the innovation for bird protection. So let's start off with why should we protect birds? Birds are not only beautiful, they are also essential to the balance of nature. They provide direct and indirect contributions to the ecosystems. They help with pollination, disperse seeds, and control pests naturally. Bird species are also indicator species, and they reflect the quality and changes in environmental conditions. But here is a shocking fact. In the past 50 years, we've lost almost a third of all bird populations in North America. This is a reminder that bird protection is urgent. And now let's take a look at the challenges birds are facing today. Habitat loss is the biggest driver of bird declines. It is caused by land being converted for agriculture, development, and resource extraction. And birds also die from colliding with man-made structures. In addition, climate change and human activities are also challenges for birds. So here are some smart solutions for bird protection. First, cities are now designing bird-friendly buildings. They use special glass patterns and window designs to help prevent birds from flying into buildings. And also, um, some tall buildings even adjust their lights at night to avoid confusing migrating birds. And moreover, smart feeding and nesting stations are being developed. Equipped with sensors, they can monitor bird activity, temperature, and humidity. This data helps scientists better understand bird behavior and protect them more effectively. And now I'd like to introduce the app I created called Sky Feather. And this app is designed for everyone and it helps people learn and understand more facts about birds through fun quizzes and games. And this makes learning about birds fun and interactive. We'll take a look at one feature of my app that is recognizing bird sounds. So listen to the audio and um, choose which of the four bird species it belongs to. Here are the four species that are American robin, house sparrow, northern cardinal, and blue jay. So anyone wants to take a guess?
Honestly, I have no clue. I'm gonna guess American Robin.
Yeah, so the answer is American robin. The sound of American robin is a familiar sound of spring, and it's a string of clear whistles assembled from a few often repeated syllables. And the syllables rise and fall in pitch, but are delivered at a steady rhythm, with a pause before the bird begins singing again. And at dawn, the sound is more rapid. And here's another example. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, the answer is blue jay. And for blue jay, the most often heard is a loud cheer, and also makes clear whistled notes and gurgling sounds. Blue jays frequently mimic hogs. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kaden, and I'll be talking about how you can have sustainable food when you're traveling outdoors or making food anywhere. Why does choosing better food matter? As you may know, balanced meals are a great help to maintain your own health, and making sure to eat organic food is more sustainable to the environment. What problems does this solve? So why do you need to do this? Well, processed and canned foods have many unhealthy additives and can be very detrimental to your health, causing diseases like obesity, heart disease, and type 2 diabetes. Below are listed some key factors on how you should choose the food that you'll be eating. The first is how healthy it is. The second is its taste. The third is the sustainability. And the fourth is nutrition. How do you balance nutrition? Well, there are a lot of factors, but I'll be going over these protein and vitamins. To have some plant protein, you can add legumes, soy, nuts, seeds, grains, and vegetables like spinach and broccoli into your meals to get those valuable proteins in without eating all those chicken and meats. And for vitamins, you can have eggs, nuts, milk, and leafy greens because vitamins are very useful to your health. We have a lot that do a lot of jobs and promote skin health, all that stuff. An example meal here, and I have an image, is a quinoa with steamed broccoli and grilled chicken. This is a very healthy meal that is is very delicious and it looks pretty good in the image too. Taste. That's a very important factor on deciding what you want to eat. So to have good taste without unhealthy flavoring, you can add salt, pepper, herbs, and natural spices like basil, rosemary, and garlic. And you can also enhance the texture with some dried fruit, nuts, give it a good crunch. For example, you can, instead of going to KFC and getting some fried chicken, you can go get your own chicken and put it on a grill, which is much more healthy than eating fried chicken. And instead of using store processed ones with who knows what's in there, you can buy your own spices and herbs, as well as replacing white rice with brown rice or quinoa. So sustainability is also a very good factor. So here are some things you can do to make your meals more sustainable. So first, to reduce waste, you want your containers and utensils to be biodegradable or reusable to not have your utensils be one use and clogging up space in landfills. And you should also be planning meals ahead of time so that you know what you're eating in order to help cut down on food waste. You can also be thrifty. Grow your own food plants at home instead of having to go to the store. You can compost your scraps for your food for the plants that you're growing. You can also eat more vegetables to reduce those greenhouse gas emissions since meat, farming meat produces a lot more greenhouse gases than plants. And outdoors, there's a lot of nearby resources that you can use. Use some water from the nearby stream. You can go fishing, forage some berries. And most importantly, you have to think long term. You should be buying locally sourced products from farmers markets, as like in the image over here, and using ethanol or algae-based fuel for portable stoves because propane is not very sustainable, like natural gas and fossil fuels.
Hi, I'm Cecilia. My topic is sustainability in bloom. I've always really liked decorating my room, and one of my favorite ways to do so is by making my own flowers. They're really fun to create, and I keep them around my room all the time. And what I love most about it is that they're also sustainable, so rather than buying decorations that end up as waste, I can make something unique and reusable. And in this video, I'll show you how I make my own flowers and hopefully inspire you to try it too. Hi guys, today I will be teaching you how to make this pipe cleaner flower. You'll need 5 pipe cleaner of each flower color, 6 green pipe cleaners, and 2 yellow pipe cleaners. You'll start by getting a pen and 1 pipe cleaner. Wrap the pipe cleaner around the pen 5 times and be sure to leave a little tail at the end. Once you've wrapped it 5 times, you're going to take both ends and twist it together. Slide your pipe cleaner off the pen and take the longer end and loop it through the flower petal.
Once you've done that, twist it again to secure the loop. Once completed, you should have something that looks like this. Now you're gonna do that 5 times. To make the center of the flower, fold your yellow pipe cleaner in half and cut it in half. Now all you have to do is twist it around your finger to form a circular shape. Now that that's ready, let's glue all our flower petals together. You should end with something that looks like this. Now glue these 2 pieces together. Grab a green pipe cleaner and fold it in half. Make a small loop on the top and twist. Repeat this loop making process 5 times to make the stem of your flower. You should end up with something like this. To make the leaves, fold your green pipe cleaner in half and pinch in the middle and twist. Flip this upside down and fold both sides down. Take one side of the pipe cleaner, loop it through the middle, and twist again. Slightly bend the petal to give it a leaf-like shape. I made 3 flowers, 3 stems, and 2 leaves. Cut the excess part of your flower to glue onto the stem. Do this for all your flowers and bundle it up with your leaves. Take another green pipe cleaner and wrap your leaves and flowers together. Lastly, stick your flower into a flower pot and we're done. I love having these pipe cleaners flowers around my room. Not only are they fun and creative to make, but they also give new life to simple material. And instead of buying decorations that can end up as waste, you can craft something beautiful, personal, and reusable. These are some of my creations, and I hope they inspire you to make something of your own.
So yeah, pipe cleaners can be reshaped and repurposed instead of thrown away. And unlike real flowers, my creations don't wilt, so you can enjoy them again and again. And these handmade flowers replace the store-bought plastic decor that often end up in landfill.
Hi guys, this is Tom, and today I'm going to talk about innovating for the air we share. Let's start with the basics of air quality standards. PM 2.5 refers to tiny particles smaller than 2.5 microns that can travel deep into our lungs and even enter the bloodstream. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency enforces stricter limits with a 24-hour average capped at 35 micrograms per cubic meter. In China, that limit is 75 micrograms, more than double. This means that the same reading on a sensor could represent very different health risks depending on where you are. One thing, however, is universal. Lower PM 2.5 levels are always better for everyone, especially kids, seniors, and people with respiratory conditions. Now, let's look at practical ways to improve your indoor air quality. Ventilation is helpful, but filtration is what really makes a difference. If you have a central HVAC system, upgrade to MERV13 or higher filters. If you don't, pair a portable HEPA purifier with the room where you spend the most time, like your bedroom or study corner. For a low-cost, high-impact project, you can even build a Corsi resinol box. It's just 4 MERV13 filters and a fan, and you will have a powerful purifier that's perfect during wildfire smoke events or pollution spikes. And finally, having a small PM 2.5 sensor can take the guesswork out of air quality. When levels spike, you will know it's time to turn your purifier on high. Here's a closer look at the structure. The 4 filters from the sides of the cube and the fan on top pulls air through the filters, capturing harmful particles before releasing clean air. The bottom is sealed with cardboard, and all the edges are taped tightly to prevent leaks. This design is effective, inexpensive, and quick to build, which is why it's become so popular in schools and homes. With just a few basic supplies, you can reduce indoor PM 2.5 levels dramatically, improving air quality for everyone in the space. And this slide dives into the science of how air purifiers really work. First, let's look at the HEPA filter. It doesn't just drain the air like a sieve. Instead, it captures particles in four ways: interception, impaction, diffusion, and electrostatic attraction, which is why it's effective even for ultrafine particles as small as 0.01 microns. Next, we have airflow metrics like CADR and ACH. CADR tells you how much clean air a unit delivers per minute, while ACH measures how often all the air in a room is replaced each hour. Together, they tell you how quickly and effectively the purifier can clean your space. For gases and odors, activated carbon filters handle things like smoke compounds, VOCs, and chemical smells that HEPA alone can't move. Finally, performance verification is key. Look for ANSI or ISO certifications to ensure the unit meets real-world standards, and pair it with a PM 2.5 sensor to track actual improvements in your air quality at home or work. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Isabelle, and today I'll be shedding light on light pollution. So, if you look up into the night sky on the streets of Times Square in New York, you probably would see little to no stars. There are usually 2,500 stars that are visible to the human eye without the use of telescopes or any other equipment. However, in today's suburbs, only 200 to 300 stars are visible, and in cities, less than a dozen stars can be seen. This is due to light pollution. Light pollution is the excessive or inappropriate use of artificial light that disrupts the natural darkness of the night. There are many types of light pollution, including sky glow, light trespass, and glare. Sky glow is the brightening of the night sky over inhabited areas, creating a dome of light that covers stars. Light trespass is light falling in places where it isn't needed or not intended, such as light from a streetlight that is shining into a bedroom window, and glare is the excessive brightness that makes it harder to see at night. Light pollution has many negative impacts on our environment and wildlife, as well as human health and ecosystems. Light pollution can cause migratory birds to become disoriented, which can cause them to collide, and sea turtle hatchlings may follow artificial lights inland instead of to the sea. Light pollution also contributes to carbon emissions and hinders the observation of celestial objects such as stars and planets. For human health, light pollution can suppress melatonin production, which can disrupt sleep, which is why scrolling on your phone before you sleep at night can make it harder for you to fall asleep, and it has also been linked to depression and diabetes. And finally, lights also can attract insects, which can reduce pollination, and they may also affect plant growth cycles and seasonal behaviors. So what can you do? You can turn off lights that aren't in use at your home to reduce the amount of carbon emissions. You can use curtains or blinds at night to keep the light from escaping your house. You can choose outdoor lighting fixtures in your backyard that point downwards so the light doesn't spread. You can use warmer colored lights that can have less impact on wildlife and sleep cycles. And finally, you can use dimming or motion sensors to make sure that lights are only on when they're needed and not excessively bright.
Those are all of the mini presentations we have for today's webinar. Just as a recap, today we talked about green generation and environmental science and how we can try to reduce our carbon footprint and also make our world a healthier planet. All of the things we talked about today, you can try to implement in your daily life. And if we all do that together, then we can help save our planet. So yeah, that's all for today's webinar. Thank you all, and see you next time.